The United States conducted airstrikes in Iraq. Some scientists are growing more worried about global warming, and the NFL playoff picture is starting to come into focus. That's some of what we'll get to on The 7 from The Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn, in for Jeff Pierre. It's Tuesday, December 26th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. At number 1, the airstrikes carried out by the U.S. targeted Iran-backed militia groups in Iraq. The Defense Department said U.S. strikes focused on 3 locations used by Kataib Hezbollah and affiliated groups. This strike was in retaliation for repeated drone attacks, including one yesterday that injured 3 U.S. service members. And it comes as anger in the Middle East has grown over U.S. support for Israel's military campaign in Gaza, which has killed more than 20,000 people. Pope Francis used his Christmas message to call for an end to the Israeli offensive in Gaza. He mourned the appalling loss of civilian life, and he referred to Bethlehem and the occupied West Bank as, quote, a place of sorrow and silence. Meanwhile, Christmas celebrations in Bethlehem were canceled. At number 2, the fate of abortion rights could be on the ballot in about a dozen states next year. Voters in Maryland and New York will decide whether to codify a right to abortion in their states' constitutions. Similar votes could take place in Florida, Arizona, and elsewhere. Abortion rights advocates have reason to be hopeful. Since the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade in 2022, every ballot measure to preserve or expand abortion access has been successful, and those that have sought to restrict abortion access have failed, even in states that skew conservative. Advocates hope to continue that trend ahead of the 2024 presidential election. At number 3, some scientists are worried that the rate of global warming is accelerating. The pace of warming could increase by 50% in the coming decades because of trapped heat energy. That's according to a study published last month. 2023 is already set to be Earth's hottest year on record. But if the pace of global warming picks up, it could accelerate wildfires, floods, heat waves, and other impacts around the globe. But not everyone agrees that this is definitely going to happen. Other climate scientists say the data isn't clear and that it's too early to predict.
It's a long, thin line, and it sure is a hot and dusty day.
At number 4, Laura Lynch, a founding member of the Chicks, has died. There's a chance you haven't heard of Lynch. She was the lead vocalist and upright bass player for the band when it formed as the Dixie Chicks back in 1989. But the band didn't really break through until after singer Natalie Maines replaced Lynch in 1995. After leaving the band, Lynch quit music and focused on raising her daughter. She was killed Friday in a head-on collision near El Paso. She was 65 years old. Number 5, 2 more teams punched their ticket to the NFL playoffs. Here's who's in after a long weekend of football. In the AFC, the Miami Dolphins grinded out a win Sunday over the Dallas Cowboys. And in the NFC, it's the Detroit Lions. They beat the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday to earn their first division title in 30 years.
He throws. It is picked off. Melifonwu with the exclamation point for the Detroit Lions today as he comes up with the interception in the final minute.
So now there are just 2 weeks left in the regular season. Week 17 starts Thursday with the Cleveland Browns getting a late season boost from quarterback Joe Flacco, hosting the New York Jets. At number 6, a mother and twins made it home for Christmas after a 1 in a million pregnancy. Kelsey Hatcher was pregnant with 2 fetuses in separate uteruses. Her doctor said this occurs in 1 of every million pregnancies. And for 7 months, her doctors in Alabama planned for a delivery they'd never seen. Hatcher was born with a rare condition that forms 2 uterine cavities, which increased her chances of miscarriages and premature births. But she and her husband, Caleb, had 2 daughters and a son who were born without complications, and the brood just got bigger. Last week, the Hatchers welcomed healthy fraternal twin sisters. Roxy, who developed in her mother's right uterus, was born Tuesday. The next morning, Rebel, who was in Hatcher's left uterus, was born via C-section. They made it home from the hospital on Friday. And number 7. A cruise company announced a trip that lasts 3.5 years. The cruise line, Villa V Residences, will embark on a continuous 1,301-day journey, stopping in 150 countries. Some of the areas the ship will sail through include Northern Europe, the Caribbean, South America, Japan, and the Philippine Sea, the South Pacific, Africa, and the Mediterranean. But wait, there's more. The trip is expected to launch in May. The lowest cost of the trip is around $116,000, but you can book a segment of the trip for less. All right, you're all caught up. But here's a reminder. We also have a newsletter. It's a great companion piece to our podcast. Today, that's where you can see a video of the mom and her twins. To sign up, just hit the link in our show notes. I'm Christina Quinn, filling in for Jeff Pierre. He'll be back tomorrow.